Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. And today we have special guest Shamilla Miller, star of Dead Places, available on AMC Plus. Shamilla, thank you for being here with us. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for inviting me and having me on your show. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. And the way I stumbled across your show called Dead Places is just one day I was sitting on the couch just trying to find something to watch. And I went on AMC Plus, and there was this show called Dead Places. The synopsis sounded fascinating. Well, I watched the first episode, and I ended up binge watching the rest of the season. So, first of all, congratulations. You guys, you, Anthony, Ray, just did a brilliant
Ria.
job. Ria
Ria, yeah.
did a brilliant job working together as co-leads on this show. Before we get into the show, are you a native of South Africa?
I am, yes. I'm born and bred.
So, what is it like as an actor in South Africa? Is there plenty of work? I know for a long time now, international companies, especially from the United States, have been coming and filming in South Africa. So, is there plenty of work as an actor in South Africa right now?
Um, I think I think just like in any city or country where people go to film or where people film their movies, there is a lot of work, but there's also a lot of talent to go around. So it always comes in waves, right? It's like sometimes you're super busy and sometimes you're not. So it is this ebb flow of work. Um, I have found myself to be, quite busy and really, really fortunate in the opportunities that I've gotten, but it's not always the same for everyone.
No.
But I think that's normal for, most hubs.
Absolutely. And for our viewers out there, let me give a synopsis, a brief overview of what Dead Places is about. It's about a writer named Will who is from South Africa but currently living in the UK who goes back home to South Africa to finish his book. He is a writer of the paranormal, and while in South Africa, in the very first episode, he meets you. You need his help because for some reason your character Kelly decided to go for a swim in an aquarium after hours. And we'll get to that in a bit as well. So once his publisher leaves, he hires you and a driver, Joe, to sort of help him through. You're the one who's going to help him through social media because Will is so anti social media. Joe is going to be sort of the bodyguard, security guard, and you guys go on these great adventures with people needing your help. As for your character, Kelly, uh, very fascinating character, very multi-layered character that we find out as the season progresses. What was it about Kelly that really attracted you to that role?
Well, just the complexity of the character and how she is. She comes off as this kind of like happy-go-lucky, bubblegum chewing, does everything for likes, and she kind of like lives her life online in this influencer network. But then as you peel back the layers and you get to know her and you see the traumas that she's had to go through and how she deals with that, it was a very interesting way to play the character in that light, knowing what her past was and everything that she went through.
Absolutely. And another great thing is you guys on the show touch on some very real topics that, at least here in the United States, are still being treated as taboo. Cutting. Okay, your character is dealing with the trauma that you suffered as a teenager being abducted, and you're having these reoccurring nightmares, and we see you throughout the season waking up, and your first inclination is to cut. It's a very real problem that I feel, at least here in the United States, it's not being given the attention it deserves. Hospitals are flooded, especially with young adults who do this to themselves. How important was that aspect of Kelly and you portraying it properly and realistically to a viewer who is going through similar issues to feel a connection with Kelly.
Yeah, so the cutting thing was before even starting to shoot, we had to conceptualize it and kind of work through it and how we're going to show it, and really tell the story properly of like why she does it, and what it's for. So it's, she does it for a whole bunch of reasons, but her main reason is that she can't find a release for the things that she's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So her immediate reaction to cut is basically to let go, or just release all of these emotions physically. So it's like, if she cuts a piece of her skin, and blood comes out, it's like releasing that
Yeah.
energy. And it really is just because she hasn't had the proper therapy or any kind of help to deal with the PTSD that she has from the kidnapping, to deal with all of those trauma. And so she hasn't been taught the right ways and the right tools to use to get through all of those traumas. And it's something that she picked up as a teenager and then
Mm-hmm.
has followed her into her adult life, which is really uncommon. It is more of it's a very bad problem, or at least in South Africa, amongst teenagers.
Oh yeah, here too.
Um, yeah, and it's just basically you're not taught or given tools to release, so you turn to cutting,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
It's
it's
very real. Yeah, it's very
yeah,
real,
it's very.
and I'm so happy that the showrunners, the writers of this show, chose to tackle this subject because you don't really see that often here in the United States being brought out into the public. You and Will's character have a bond, like a big brother, little sister type of bond. You guys, he's dealing with his own trauma and the death and kidnapping of his sister when he was a young boy. You're dealing with an abduction from yourself when you were a teenager. And I love how throughout the season, as you guys are going through these adventures, how it's all brought together in the finale. Did you like that aspect when you read the script and how everything got connected and brought together that way?
I honestly, I loved it because, as you know, each episode is kind of a standalone episode with this monster, or demon or witch, whatever you're fighting in each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you get to know these characters and their journeys and their energies around each other for 7 episodes. And then in the last episode, it's really about the journey they take together and their three separate journeys as well, particularly between Will and Kelly, and because they've got the same kidnapper. Spoiler, sorry.
That's
And
fine.
so yeah, as the way that came together, the way Gareth, the writer, just pulled that all together was so exciting, and so even shooting it was so real, like getting to that climax. And so yeah, I love the ending of it.
Now, Rhea, who plays Joe, he is like, I mean, it's like a house of cards. Without Joe, it would all fall apart. Okay, he
Yeah,
is like the added comic relief. He's also the voice of reason. He's a
yeah,
cop.
he's what the audience is thinking basically.
Exactly. Like, let's get the hell out of here. He's a cop who got fired in disgrace. He also has a big backstory with his family. When all three of you guys, did you guys all first meet on the set?
We met at so we all got cast, and we had a few weeks before we started shooting to kind of get to know each other and get the chemistry out. Anthony and I have known each other for maybe 10 years just because of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
No, we weren't really, we worked once on like a music video 10 years prior, and then you bump into someone every now and then, so that's how we knew each other. But the writer director of the show had worked with all three of us on different things,
Mm-hmm.
and had written the show with us in mind.
Nice.
And so he really kind of wrote, for Rio, he wrote that specific type of comedy, and Kelly's personality was kind of shaped, around my younger self kind of, and Anthony's vibe as well. So the three characters really in the writing already were just so molded to who we are. And then luckily when we all did get together a couple of weeks before shooting, we started hanging out. It was just this crazy chemistry between the three of us, and we still, to this day, we still hang. It's been 2 years since we wrapped the show, and we still hang out all the time because we've got such insane chemistry. We're really good friends.
And you guys really bring that to the screen. For me, that was a big factor as to what attracted me to the show. Not the paranormal or the demons or the ghosts or the ancient tree that swallows people up. It's the chemistry between the three of you guys. You all complement each other. And the way you just described it, you guys brought that when the director yelled action. And that was a big part of why I love this show. When it came to working with each other, you just explained you guys get along great off camera. Did you find it very easy to work together because all your scenes are pretty much together with Anthony and Rhea and just bringing it all when the director yelled action?
Yeah, it was surprisingly, we shot it over quite a long time. We took 7 months to shoot the entire series, and we weren't working every single day. I think we were working like 3, sometimes 4 times a week. But every time we were together, it was just such a pleasure. And every time the director yelled action, the director also did a very good job at letting us play. So, we know the script, we know the characters really well. And sometimes if a scene didn't work, the director would be like, okay, cool, you guys go and workshop it and figure it out. And so not a lot of it, but there's, certain scenes that were just improv as characters, and certain things that we just got such great free reign to add whatever we needed to. And obviously if it wasn't working, the director would be like, okay, that's enough, let's dial it back. But for the most part, it worked, and we really just got, I think it's the first job that I've had so much control over who my character is and how I portray her. And the same with the other two, that on set and on action, it was a lot of fun, and it just felt seamless and easy.
As an actor, given that freedom, did you find it liberating to explore your talent and see how much you yourself as an actor can accomplish?
For sure. It's from conception to the end, who Kelly was and the way she grew was just so beautiful, because I felt like I was a part of the journey. I know that sounds weird, but I was along the journey as I was discovering the character. We also shot, which is very, very rare, we shot kind of in sequence. So we would do an episode at a time, because it was all location based. So we would go to a certain location for a certain episode. So a lot of the episodes where we were dealing with the theme or the monster or whatever of the episode was done in sequence, or not in sequence in scenes, but in one episode at a time. And so that felt like the journey of these characters from episode 1 to episode 8 was really linear. And so that plus the free reign was it was such a phenomenal experience. I've never had anything like that before. So
when it comes to the theme of the show, paranormal, but we're not talking about dark paranormal, lighthearted. It's about the characters. Yeah, it's about the characters. That's what makes this show so good. But the theme of the paranormal, sort of horror, do you like that sort of working in that genre?
I do. I mean, it was the first time that I'd ever been in that genre. And it was really interesting. It was really fun because a lot of it was, even the costume and makeup on set, and seeing how everything is stitched together, and, the jump scares and the cinematography, all of it. It was quite nice to see a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And yeah. so I found it really exciting, and I love thrillers in general, and I love movies that create tension. So
And
yeah, it was great.
now, as far as you know, like I said, the show is on AMC Plus here. Do you know when you booked a role or auditioned, was AMC behind it at that point, or were you guys shooting it independently and then AMC came in later on?
So we shot it completely independently. The It's a very small production team. Like when I tell you that our entire team was like 12 or 13 people that
Wow.
shot this show. No, it was an incredibly small team. They're a production company called Motion Story, and this is kind of um, their MO. They shoot things independently. They own all their own equipment, and they've got private investors. So we shot it as an independent show, and then we sold it to different distributors. So here and in Asia and in different parts of the world, it's sold. So it's on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the States, it's on AMC. I think it's on something different in the UK. So they
Oh.
just sold it as a company to everyone. So we didn't know who was going.
I think you froze up. Okay, we lost you there for a second, but I think that's great that the show is distributed worldwide and everybody has access to it. When it came to your character again, was were there any challenges that you had to face in bringing Kelly to the screen?
I did have to kind of. She is a little bit younger than me, so like tapping into that younger mannerisms and way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had to be conscious of that. And then again with the cutting,
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't want to overplay it or overdo it. I really needed to keep that like as real as possible. So I put a lot of research into that and was very nervous about tapping into that part because I was like I didn't want it to seem superficial
Yeah.
or just done because mental health and cutting specifically is such a huge thing and it's a sensitive topic. So I was nervous about that, and I did put a lot of work. Did put a lot of stress on doing that right. So yeah,
You did great. Also, the social media aspect. Kelly's way of therapy is to hide behind Instagram in this case, and her followers, and do these live streams. She, before meeting Will and Joe, that was her only connection to other human beings, is through her followers doing these live streams. The moniker of your Instagram is Dare Kelly. People
yeah.
would dare Kelly and you would take him up on the dare, like the aquarium and breaking in and going swimming with the sharks, which is crazy. But it's also lots of fun. So, and it's also very real. People hide behind social media as opposed to dealing with issues. Did you feel any added responsibility to get that accurate as well?
Of course, yeah, because it is such a truth, right? It's like you're so connected to the world and you're so available to everyone, yet you don't have you don't behind that camera you're alone and you're lonely. So that aspect and then also you try to play it off, right? No one
Yeah.
ever wants to admit that they're lonely or that they're struggling. So when she finds Will, that's also how that whole relationship takes form so quickly. It's because she finds Will, and it's this thing that's different and exciting and real. And it's the first thing in a long time, I think, even since the kidnapping in high school, that
Mm-hmm.
she's had anything that's real and tangible, and that she feels like she's helping with people. So like to play that dynamic was very important. Yeah.
Now I've researched this, and there doesn't really seem to be a clear answer. Is there going to be a season two? Are there talks of a season two, or has the show been canceled?
Well, there are talks of a season two with the producer. They're busy filming something else at the moment, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure. Like as an actor, I'm not really in the know.
Yeah,
There's always talks of a season two. It's not that it's been cancelled because like all they have to do is shoot it and then sell it.
yeah.
Um, But at this moment, I'm not sure because I was told that if we get AMC Plus, we'll probably have a season two.
Okay,
So
you're on
yeah,
AMC Plus, and
exactly.
like me finding it, it's slowly. I know it premiered April of 2021 here in the United States, at least, and as time goes by, it is catching on, and by word of mouth, it's becoming more and more popular. So I really do think down the line there is going to be a season two. What has Dead Places done for you and your career? Has it put you more in the spotlight? Have you seen a noticeable change in auditions that you're getting because of Dead Places?
I mean, it has put me in the spotlight, I think some. It is a little bit different, I think, in South Africa. Like it's when they say 15 minutes of fame, that's really all it is. Um, but I do have a little bit more presence, being a lead in, or a co-lead in the show. It has helped, and but I don't know if it's necessarily gotten me a push and like more work, but I am more visible. So
Yeah.
like the yeah, I am more visible in the industry, so that's
It,
great.
do you,
And I was I'm a co-lead on Netflix over here, which is a big deal.
Absolutely. Do you foresee possibly you doing a move to the U.S. for 6 months to a year to see what it does for your career?
It's not out of the question. I actually I signed with a new management last week, and I've got my like first strategy meeting tomorrow. So, and I know that it's not a local, it's more of an international management team, and they, have feet in LA. So I'm going to talk it over them and see what the possibilities are. I, I, I I never wanted to make the move or go over without a plan and just kind of, hope for
Yeah,
auditions and, so I've always said that if I do go, it's because I've got connections and I've got a foot in the door and I've
that's
got, people who knows other people. So now that I've got this management team, it definitely is more of a possibility. Because if I come over, I want to come over with a plan and with
exactly.
intentions of meeting the right people. I don't want to just be like, let me go and see what happens in LA.
Exactly. That's a smart way to do it. You don't want to just come to the U.S. and just, no plan, and then you end up waiting tables for 2 years. Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
waiting tables. A lot
of
of
course.
actors and the filmmakers trying to make it, that's what you got to do to put food on the
That's
table.
that's what I did for most of my 20s.
Yeah, yeah. But, this comes from the heart. I think you're a very talented actress. Uh,
Yeah.
I think coming to the U.S. would be brilliant. I think you would get cast in a lot of things. I'm not saying you're not gonna. I mean, you've done a lot of work in South Africa and have appeared in a lot of different projects. But man, I think you're ready to go on to the next level. Out of all the projects that you have done so far, uh, which one really stands out as being something special in your heart?
Um, well, Dead Places is definitely one of them because just because of the way the character was written,
Mm-hmm.
for me and with me in mind. So I really did resonate quite a lot with Kelly. And the fact that it was, one of the shows that showed worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really good. I also really enjoyed. I was on another Netflix show called Blood and Water. That's a South African show, and I had a small role in there where I played like the coach's pregnant wife, but it was quite a pivotal role in the show. And I didn't realize that I didn't realize that at the time and how big it was going to be. But that role has also become something that I was like, well, it really that really pushed me into the limelight and really has given me great credit. So very thankful for that. And then when it comes to character that I've also resonated with, I've done some local work. I did the short film called Number 37, which means number 37 in Afrikaans.
Mm-hmm.
It was an Afrikaans film, and there was something about it was like a film that it was basically this like robbery of this gangster, but like in the hood. And
Yeah.
there was something about that character that I played that was really special, was really nitty gritty, that I really really loved. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. Going
yeah.
forward, do you have a preference between film or TV?
I really don't. So I've only recently gotten into film. So I did two films last year, both South African. One's been released, one's still waiting. And then I did one film the year before. And so I've only done those three films. Otherwise, I've mostly done series and TV work. And
So TV is your
I
comfort zone right now.
Yeah, well, it's also just it's nice because it's long form,
Yeah.
but there is something about making a movie
Yeah.
that is special. There's something about the energy with the crew, with the cast, with everything that just it's really special. And I haven't done, I've only done three of them, so
It's
it's
definitely
something that I
something you
do.
want to explore some more.
Yeah, yeah, I want to explore a little bit more, but also in this day and age, the jump between movie and series is just so
Yeah.
seamless. So it's
Yeah, it
like
is.
but before, I think, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you had to make the choice. Are you
Oh, yeah.
a TV actor or are you a movie actor? And that's not the case anymore. So
And going
yeah,
back even further, before your time in the 80s, TV was looked down upon. I'm like, it was a step
exactly,
down. Now TV is the place to be. Uh,
exactly.
wow. Shamila, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing these great stories. I think you're a brilliant actress. I know we're going to be
Yeah.
seeing a lot more of you in the future, whether it's in South African TV shows, movies, or here in the United States. I think you've got a big career if you come over here to the U.S. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts you want to share before we go?
Nothing particularly. Just yeah, thank you for those very kind words. And I think a either a stint or a move to the US is definitely going to happen. So watch this space.
And that's right. We're going to definitely be keeping an eye out. I want to thank our guest, Shamilla Miller. I want to thank our audience who's watching this live, and the majority of you who are going to be watching this later on, archived. On behalf of Shamilla and myself, stay safe. And always, guys, stay walking. Bye bye.